So we're gonna do rolling back takes. The goal is to do 3 different ways to roll to the back. Everybody can do this. It's not limited by size or anything else. But if anyone is training in their underwear, they have to put shorts on. That's like a very German thing, apparently. Everyone's in their underwear, and it's fucking weird. You know who you are. If it has a fly, it's not shorts. Those go under shorts. So please, hide your dick. So, first thing we're gonna do is just do a solo drill to get ourselves in the right orientation for our rolls, to make sure we're all gonna stay safe. So, we're gonna do kind of like a Granby roll and kind of like a forward roll, but it's really, really safe, okay? The goofiest thing is how we're gonna use our arms. So we oftentimes try to put our hands on the mat and lift ourselves up in some weird orientation, and it feels really good, and we get this instant gratification of elevating our butt, but it stops us from continuing the rotation. So, both of my arms are gonna go like this, and I'm gonna reach to one side, my back of my hands go to the mat, and I move like this, all right? Once we get to here, we're gonna start our forward roll onto our leading shoulder, and then we're just gonna let ourselves flop, and our goal is to move 90 degrees. So if I'm facing a compass and I'm facing north, this is south, and we have west and we have east, I'm gonna go from facing north to my feet going to the east, right? So I come underneath like this, I build this tension, and I flop out. Yeah, so that's exactly how we're gonna roll to the back. And you can see my neck is very safe the whole way. There isn't a ton of flexibility issue there. So everyone should be comfortable doing this. If you have to make it less of a snappy rotation, that's okay. That's gonna depend on how flexible your hamstrings and your lower back is. So we go reach, drop the shoulders, butt comes up, just like that. It's really fucking hard. Should we try it? Find a spot on the mat, everyone try just that. Yes, now you can go.
Halbe Sonnenuhr, fette Sonnenuhr.
All right, everyone did the first part. Perfect. Everyone, I watched every single person. I was on my phone for like half of it, so I apologize. I was recording video. I wasn't like texting or Instagramming. So now we're gonna make it a little bit more dynamic, right? It's still gonna be mildly simple. It's a little bit more breakdancey. I try to make everyone breakdance every seminar because it's just fun to watch. It ends up with a large group becoming a capoeira fight, so mind your space and don't kick your friend in the face, or do it anyway. So we're gonna do the same idea. I dive my hands underneath, and all I'm gonna do is walk my feet around this time. So I get upside down, and I push up. Don't laugh. We can do this. So, same exact thing. Only this time, I'm gonna straddle my legs and push up. My job is to make it look really easy, and then you guys are confident. Like, I can do that. If he can do it, I can do it. And then you'll try it, and you'll laugh. So, the goal is to be very controlled, right? We don't wanna have to go with momentum quite yet. We wanna make sure we can control our body, understand what's happening, and make sure none of it is a scramble, okay? So it's a very technical idea. I dive underneath. So last time we did this time, the feet are just gonna swim across the head. Let's push up to our feet. Confidence is like through the roof right now. Yeah? Should we see it again, or just go do it?
One more time.
One more time, let's do it. All right, so. Just like that. I'm really good at this. All right, go try it. Clap whenever you want. All right, so something really silly happens in our brain, and when we add speed to everything, we say, I fucked everything up, right? So the goal here is to add some momentum and add some speed, but maintain the exact same technique, right? This is super applicable for all jiu-jitsu techniques because we drill them slow, and then we try to implement them in our rolls, and we go too fast, and we fuck everything up, right? I'm sorry for swearing. It will happen again. So, this time, same exact technique. We dive our hands to one side. A couple of you are moving our hands in weird ways, right? And it feels good to kind of help ourselves move around, but we're actually just gonna be limiting our momentum and limiting how we move. Coming from a gymnastics background, we call this a set, right? So wherever I throw my arms, my body will follow. So if I'm trying to invert with an opponent, and I put my hands on the mat, I can elevate my butt quite well, but it's really hard to maintain my inversion. So if my hands come with me, your hands kind of lead the way, yeah? And so it's a habit that we have to break and get better about, but if you do it this way, it's gonna make everything much easier. So make sure we're setting with our hands, working through. Yeah, so we're gonna add a little bit of speed to it. And kind of pop up a little bit. All right, we're just gonna play. That's where everyone laughs. A deep lunge. Okay, so it's the same technique though, yeah? We come underneath, my feet swing, and push my head out the other side. Just with speed. You can do this. You can all do this. Let's try it. Ready? Okay, very good. So I like this, like I said before, because it exploits a weakness in our brain of being able to add speed and be accurate. All right? Every time we add speed, our brain just can't keep up with like the mechanics of it. And so if we train without a person with us and we control our own body, then we learn how to do it better with a person with us. Yeah? If I can't control me, I can't control we. That was fucking cool, right? I just made that up. Just made that up. Write a book. Done. All right, so now let's turn this into a real technique. We're gonna do 3 different patterns. The first one's gonna be from like a knee cut pass or 3/4 mount, and I'll show you guys how I do it both ways from the same position. So I would like to use someone close to my size. Where's Toby? Come here, brother. All right. So we're passing guard, and we're going for like a shin slide pass, knee cut pass, and he does a good job of trapping our ankle. Yeah. All I'm gonna do is pivot him over. So now, as I do this, I always kind of throw him. Someone asked me in Ireland if I took for underhooks or try to grab his arms. I don't. My hands go to the mat. I'm totally fine having him do whatever he wants with his hands, but my leg is really gonna get him going this way. So I post, and I sit, right? So right away I'm sitting, my groin is right on his hip bone, or just below it. I pinch my knees together nice and tight, that way he cannot reclaim his back exposure. Okay, once I've created back exposure, I want to keep it the whole time. The easiest back exposure to claim from a guard pass or from a low hip position is the hip one, right? It's really easy for him to defend the upper body back exposure, but once I block the hips, I can make some choices from here, okay? So the most important part, the crux of this whole series, is what happens with our inside toes, okay? And this step right here, watch this foot. Yeah. If I can catch his shin with my foot, my shoelaces, now I have a good connection to him. Everything will fail if I lose that connection, okay? It's really, really important. I think about it like this. If I were to take a Kimura grip and I hold onto his wrist, my wrist, now I can rotate his whole body, or at least his whole arm, yeah? If I were to do this and try to rotate, I would get nothing, okay? So if I look for any type of a rolling back take, without having my shoelaces on, when I go to roll, it's really hard to control his body. Like I can't even not do it. Yeah, like it just doesn't make a lot of sense. So really important we find that shoelace bite right away. So we end up in 3/4 mount. All we're gonna do, turn and sit. Just like this. All right, from here, I'll play kind of patient here. All right, I'm not in a big hurry. I wanna see what he does. If for some reason the top side arm crosses this way, I take the easy pathway to the back, right? My near side leg is gonna just create more back exposure and go to the back, right? So I'm not gonna do anything fancy if I don't have to. But yeah, he's doing a good job, he's smart. But from here, I have his legs pinned, I have his hips pinned. All right, I'm in a pretty good spot to control him. All right, I can have 2 options. Some of us have weird shaped legs, and I can either figure 4, like I am right now, or I can control and keep my legs separate. I always prefer having separated legs because it allows me to have 2 different legs, right? If we lock our arms together, we have essentially 1 arm. Lock our legs together, we have 1 leg. So the scenarios in which 1 leg, 1 arm is very good, others in which we want to have separate so we can move around a little better, yeah? So this scenario, I have shoelaces hooked, but my legs are not crossed together, okay? From here, we do that exact same roll we just did. My hands go here, right? And now we're upside down. Right, so now we're in the truck. Here's where the shoelaces really become important. without any use of my hands or my left leg, if I boot hard with this leg, he'll fall into my lap. If I don't have this connection right here, he will almost always spiral into half guard top. And he'll swim this arm across. And this is where it fails often, okay? I have to be aggressive with my boot on my leg that actually has like the spiral right on it. So I'll start. Maintain top. Yeah. When I'm ready to roll, I roll way out of the way. If I roll for like 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, I can still make it work. But I have to pick him up. I'm in my own way. If my arm posts here, I can make it work. But my arm is in the way, so it's more complicated, right? More challenging. So I'm gonna put my armpit down. Now it's really simple. I can talk the whole time. My chin is always off my chest, keeping me safe. From here, I'm gonna extend. We're gonna try it without using our arms or our secondary leg, okay? I'm gonna boot. I wanna try and keep his heel higher than his hip. And he'll land right in your lap. So, like everything else, I should be able to do my techniques without having any momentum affecting this. So if I start my roll, I should be able to come backwards, rewind it, go again. I'm always in control of the position, and I'm not using momentum to carry me through, right? It's control the whole way through. So speed is not always bad, but we saw before, when we add speed to a new technique, it gets muddy. So nice and slow and controlled the whole way through. Yes? Let's do it. Ready? If I get one question that's out of the ordinary, it's your fault. If I get 50 questions that are all the same, it's my fault. So I fuck everything up. I oftentimes go into seminars and I overestimate the intelligence of the group. So, let's make it. I mean it from like a loving thing. Yeah. So, let's go back a step. And this is, honestly, this is like the more realistic way I do this anyway. Yeah? So, Toby? So if we've already passed the guard, we're in mount. Oftentimes, especially in a no-gi match, mount can be kind of a frustrating place to be. Guys get really good at defending the mount. So I'm looking to go to the back always, right? I think in my opinion, every match in jiu-jitsu should end in a rear naked choke. And if it doesn't, it's the result of me not being able to choke you, right? I'll take whatever I can get, but the goal is always to get to your back and strangle you, right? It's like the best thing you can do. So we're in mount for a while. And he's just doing a good job of protecting himself. If I offer him a quarter of a guard, he will take it every time. And so all I do is do a butterfly hook, and he'll pinch. Now, if he pinches, he will give me hip back exposure every time. I have to be ready for it. It's impossible for him to keep my ankle tight and keep both hips flat on the ground, right? So go both hips on the ground, pinch my leg. Weird, right? So if I'm in mount, I'm playing nice and heavy, I'm attacking, I do this, he'll catch it. Now I have what I need, okay? So I'm not baiting him or anything. I'm just offering him something and he's gonna take it or he's not going to. If he doesn't take it, I might continue my pathway to the back or the arm lock from there. But the second my hips, or his hips lift, I pinch, I create more hip exposure. That's when I'm able to step my shoelaces and then back step nice and high, right? I'm like nice and low on his legs, high on his hips kind of ish. So that's where I want to be. So instead of going for a knee cut pass, there should have been a knee cut seminar before this apparently, but instead of going from knee cut, we'll just go from mount and then we'll take it from there, right? So we're in mount. Let me have the mount back, please. You're good, yes? I'm gonna give him some feed. Oh, he can. Good. All right, so right away, I should be able to, this is not as easy as it looks, to find that shin right away, okay? If I stay parallel spine, I have to have a really bendy knee and foot to catch that. If I turn myself perpendicular to him, my foot will naturally go over top. So all I'm gonna do is kind of give him more of a recovery. He has quarter guard now. He'd like to push me down his legs. So he pushes my legs, I go. So it's not bad for him. But now I've captured his shin. It's really important we get this right here. All right? From here, everything else is the same. I do my set. Roll through. Put him out of that. Does that make sense? I'm certain we can handle that one. Maybe not you. Okay, let's try it. Ready?
Du musst hier schon. I have the authority now, right?
So I'm still seeing a lot of us getting in our own way, okay? This is one of those things, like everything else, right? If I do a sweep and the angle of the timing is off, I can make this sweep still work by being strong and maybe fast. But if a sweep is really perfect, it should be effortless. And the person should just gracefully fall over and you get on top of them, right? That's ideal. And it really just comes with all the geometry of what we're doing. And so if I have Toby again here, it's really important that I make this dive. I'd like to get us to like a full like ass to ass situation, right? Like we want to be like north south, but like ass to ass instead. If I roll over any part of my own body, I'm gonna get trapped, right? And there's a good chance I've given him an arm drag, right? If he hip switches here, he has my back. Okay, so I have to think about these things that can happen when we try these riskier techniques, right? These are not A-game techniques. This is just I'm having fun with my friends, or I'm frustrated and the guy's being really good and defensive, and I'm just trying to make some action happen. Okay, so here I'm still safe. I said before, if he tries to turtle and run, or anytime this arm crosses over to that side of me, I'm going to take the shortcut to the back. Right? This leg is going to maintain the back exposure. A hook or quarter guard or half guard is a hook for the back, right? So why finish passing the guard when you can go to the back? It's already there. But he's good. He's keeping his back down, right? So I can be this high. I can be tall here. All right, scramble a little bit. So if I roll out of my own way and like fall in the correct orientation, nothing stops me from doing this roll. Okay, it's really important I understand that. And that's why those solo drills are so important, because I have to learn to get out of my own way. And a lot of times jiu-jitsu happens and we get in our own way and we stop ourselves. We're so fixated on our opponent and not on ourselves. So think about what your own body's doing and you'll flow right around the person, okay? All three scenarios are the exact same technique. We're just finding them in a slightly different orientation. And so it's important we try to find those commonalities between each one. The first one from mount or three-quarter mount is the easiest pathway to see, right? We're on top, we can watch ourselves, we can use all of our good positioning. As we make this happen in stranger situations, it gets a little bit more complicated, right? It's like I can play tennis, but if I were to play it upside down, it gets much harder. Yeah, or like inverted guard works because inverted guard becomes one more layer of complexity in a standard guard. So it's much harder for our opponent to see what's happening because it's hidden behind a layer, okay? So we're gonna do this from passing half guard. So oftentimes I play a half guard right here, right? I'm really low on the hips and I'm nice and tight to my opponent. Right? I do this because as a smaller person, if I dedicate my left arm to a crossface, I divide my weight across his whole body and I lose pinning power, right? So the game happens incrementally always. I want to pass just the legs first and then progress up to an upper body pin or stay on the legs. So from here, all I'm going to do is start walking his leg out, all right, and finish passing my guard. Regardless, it doesn't matter how we pass the guard, just make it simple on your opponent. But what always happens from here, once we pass the guard here, is Toby tries to shrimp out and get knee recovery. Yeah, exactly like that. So I have to anticipate that. So go back a step. So as I'm doing this, I'm gonna back scoot with him. So I'm gonna butt scoot away and I'm gonna step over. Yeah? And we can pass them out from here. But if I want a ninja roll, I do the same thing, but I'm gonna pull just his top leg. Okay, so either way works. We can step all the way over, our pathway to the back or to mount, or we pull just the top leg, and now we hook. Okay, so ninja roll has to be the bottom leg of mine to the top leg of his. Okay? So now we are in this like kind of twister position here. From here, this is where it gets a little bit complex. Okay, so let's do it this way. All right, the truck battle, anytime we do ninja rolls or like truck rolls, is won or lost by whose ankle is in the other person's knee pit, okay? So if he gets his ankle to my knee pit, he'll win the truck position, yeah? If I get my ankle to his knee pit, I win. So I have this chain link that goes from my ankle to my knee to my hip. All I'm gonna do is move one position down the line. So my ankle's gonna go where my knee is, and my knee goes to where my hip is. So I'm gonna scoot away, here, all right? And so now I'm in the same position we were just in, only kind of upside down. So I have my shoelaces attached to him. I'm sitting on his leg, I pin him, arms go straight, and there's our roll, okay? So, let's just start it from cross side to simplify things. I learned the hard way that you guys can't handle that. So, here, all right, top leg, I'm gonna butt scoot away. He moves in, I hook. My bottom leg to his top leg. From here, I kind of spiral my way around. Here, I'm still heavy on him though. If my elbow stays tight to him, I can help keep the hips, but I can't roll. So when I go to roll, I'm gonna put my hands towards his leg. Set him up, okay? One more time. Just running in crossbody position. Top leg, I'm gonna scoot away and pull. He doesn't mind that, yeah? I hook, bottom leg to top leg. I try to get my ankle to his knee pit. I pin, arms go straight. Ninja. What do you think? Can we do it? I have all the confidence in the world. Let's go. Ready?
I'm scared to get away.
So now we have some choices to make. Zach is 4 or 5 kilos bigger than me. And so I have to be very appropriate in what I choose. So sometimes with a really big guy, when they're turtled, right, we have a tough spot to be here, right? So in wrestling, we often do like an inside spiral ride where we're gonna have a grapevine on our leg, like this. Yeah, it can be challenging to get in jiu-jitsu because people are really good at hiding a turtle. But bigger guys versus smaller guys, oftentimes, we're teaching that class on Friday. Zach Miller and me, big guy versus little guy versus big guy, how to fuck up these big dudes. Right? And also how to not
And how
get
to break
up.
his hips.
Exactly. So,
In a non-sexual way. Or maybe both.
in his camp. So Camp Daddy's approval. All right, so with a bigger guy, I find I can usually get an inside leg in, but I have a hard time getting anything upper body, right? They're much more threatened by the upper body underhooks and that stuff than they are with like an inside spiral ride or a grapevine, right? So the same thing happens from here. This is the exact same position we just did, only slightly modified, right? From here, again, my shoelace posture, means top of my foot, right? Where my shoelaces would be had I been wearing shoes, is really important, right? From here, I'm gonna use my outside leg to bump him and capture that. Yeah? So it's a small move. Come back here, turn your butt too. Riley. Awkward. Right? So I got my leg in, but it's not attached to his calf yet, or his Achilles yet. I'm gonna step, I'm gonna bump, and capture it. Now I can resettle. Right? I have 2 options. I had a rhythm going. I'm all fucked up now. Oh, you're good. So I have 2 options. I can go forward roll or I can go backward roll. It largely depends on what he does to me, right? The issue is, if I go backward roll, I oftentimes give him space to swim a left arm underhook in, right? So if I really pull hard back and he's just a big fucking dude and he gets his left arm in front of me, right now he's in half guard top.
This is my right arm, but it's okay.
I meant your left. So, I prefer to stay nice and tight to him, right? I'm really tight here. So now he has a hard time finding that, right? My butt is kind of facing him. I'm keeping myself protected. Pull your right arm or right leg back inside. Yeah, he really can't, right? I have control of it. If he does that, he elevated his posture briefly. All I'm gonna do is push him down, right? So this leg's gonna drive. Now we're on top in the same position. We still have our grapevine. With a big guy, I might lose the grapevine, right? It's okay too. I can go to a figure 4 in this scenario. And then my secondary leg becomes the shoelaces. Either way is fine, right? From here, everything else is the same. This is where it becomes really important that I don't get in my own way, right? If I try to roll here, like, I can make it work, but It's much more work, right? So I want to figure out how I can make the most efficient pathway to success. All right, so we're fighting from turtle. He's doing some stupid Chris Payne's bullshit. And he calls my shit bullshit too, so it's even.
Welcome to offensive BJJ.
Right? So I'm trying, I'm struggling, right? The leg comes in, but I pit stop right here. Okay? I'm still nice and tight to him so he can't turn and face me. Making sure my armpit's heavy on him. I step, I bump, I get my shoelaces attached. Secondary leg is still option for posting. I can trip, I can knee tap, or I can pull him back on top of me. I would prefer to knee tap and go forward, okay? But I have to break him down first. So, post, break him down. Then I roll. Then I go back to here, right? Second thing we'll talk about, we had a good question. Do I catch the foot when I roll, right? Rule sets will dictate that, okay? If it's around in here where there is no rules and it's like prison fight, then I can go for any submission I would like, and I might stay in truck momentarily and then choose to go from there. If it's a person who I know has a really good back defense and they're good at keeping their underhooks from being got, then I will stay in the truck. In order for truck to work, I have to maintain control of the outside leg. If I roll, I catch the outside leg right away. All right, and I'll pit stop here. Okay, now I can still make a pathway to twister or the back if I choose to, but for me, I usually switch to like a calf slicer or Alexander Newfong taught the corkscrew footlock. We can corkscrew from here too. All right, so the cool thing about attacking with a pit stop in the truck is I can always choose to go back to the back if I want to later on. Okay, so I have a stop here where I might be able to grab a slicer, all right, get a quick win. Or he defends the slicer by straightening his leg, which opens up the back take. All right, so we can play it all together. The key thing here is understanding that all three rolls have the exact same leg position. Everything is contingent upon the top of my foot, where my shoelaces would be, being active the whole time, right? Again, I think about it like doing a Kimura without wrist control. Doesn't make any sense, okay? So make sure we find that position every single time. One more time. Inside leg comes in, we pin, bump, get our shoelaces on. This is probably the easiest place to find shoelace control, right? Because it's pretty easy to find. I can break him down, or I can just go straight for the roll, right? Depending on the feed I'm getting, if the guy's really aggressive and he's fighting it hard, I might end up having to break him down first, pit stopping, and then hitting my roll from here. But either way, it's all the same exact technique, right? So it should feel simple. It should feel good at this point. As always with me, my job here is to give you guys broad brushstrokes and show you a lot of things. The details and the fine nuances that work well for me are wasted on some of you because our body types are so much different. Our abilities are different. So it's your job as a training partner to be a good uke and make sure you're giving a good response and good feedback as it goes. And then I can obviously come by and help you and say, this is what I would do to improve that. But largely, you have to invent your own jujitsu, right? You have to do what your body works best with. It's crazy to think that there's one thing, there's like one karate kata that everyone has to perform, right? This is what makes our jiu-jitsu a pure art, where it works, because everybody's jiu-jitsu looks vastly different from each other's, right? It has to fit your body. If you'd like to drill 1, 2, or all 3, do that. We have 10 minutes left, 9 minutes left. So pick which one you want to try. It's okay to do the first one over and over and over again. It's okay to do 1, 2, or 3, right? But make sure we feel comfortable, make sure we feel confident in at least one component of this so we can attempt it later on in the week. Good? Let's do it. Ready? Yes. I might sit in that. All right, but if it's really big, yeah, I'm maybe going to use this leg. Thank you guys. This is the last class of the day. I know it's late. We're interrupting the dinner plans, and so I expected like 4 people to come. So it's always cool to have a huge group here. It's fun to play jiu-jitsu, okay? And that's important to understand. The reality is self-defense is like an 18-month course, right? You get a blue belt, you're pretty good at defending yourself from an attacker. anything we choose to do beyond that is because it's fun. We're here because it's fun. And it's important to make our roles fun. I was blessed, and as a white belt, I rolled with a guy at my academy, and we had a great round, and we finished, and he said, fuck, that was fun. And that resonated so much with me, and I said, that's why I'm here. Like, the odds of me pumping gas in my car and getting into a fight are like 0, right? Like, I live in a very, very like upper class like neighborhood, like it's safe, right? It's bougie as fuck. So I'm not gonna get in a fight. I don't go anywhere I can't wear my watch. So I'm safe, but I have fun with this, right? And we often lose track of that. We make it so serious that it has to be this dogfight all the time. And the reality is, we continue to train jiu-jitsu forever because it's fun, right? We're the martial art that people don't quit when they get a black belt, right? It's very uncommon to hear a black belt who doesn't train. Ask a black belt in Taekwondo if they train, and most of them don't. They did that thing and it's over, right? We here because it's fun. We travel across the fucking world to meet with our friends because it's fun. So be okay with having fun. Be okay with failing. Be okay with doing weird things in a roll and going, I don't know. Right? I am rarely in trained positions when I roll. I'm just doing weird shit. All right? If I submit you, you should laugh. You should, that was fucking stupid. Yes, it was, yes. Right? So not everything has to be this like 100% effort and this 100% success rate technique. We can have a lot of fun by playing jiu-jitsu. And these are those techniques, right? We're frustrated. We're trying something out of the box. If we train weird shit, you'll find weird shit, right? So Charles just said, this was here. Now he's thinking about other ways he can do what he taught this morning, right? And so once you start thinking outside of this like very basic dominant pin box, there's no limit to what we can do in grappling, right? We can be really creative. And that's what kept me in jiu-jitsu. Like I'm an artist by nature. And like, no one told me that what I was doing was wrong. Just have fun and do this shit, yeah? So you guys did great. I'm really happy. No one left in the middle of class, which is a big step for me. If we can get a picture, I would love that. And then we'll go have some dinner. Not together, because that's weird. But I'll go eat dinner and you guys can go somewhere else. All right, let's go over here and get a picture. Thank you guys.